my colleague, Senator Kaminsky, who, along with myself and the other senators from Long Island, were instrumental on why we're all here today at this press conference. Breast cancer is the most common cancer here in the United States, and this is very personal to me because my aunt was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she beat it. And through that experience, I understand the amount of help individuals need when they get diagnosed with this. And that's why the Adelphi New York Statewide Breast Cancer Hotline is very important for this community. And when they came to my office, basically talking about this program and asking for a grant, I said I'll do everything I possibly can to make sure this goes through the budget and that we get the funding that we need. For 40 years, it's been the go-to hotline in New York and the oldest of its kind in the country. So it's even more gratifying to stand here and announce that through the budget, we have secured $383,000 for this program. When people reach the hotline, 1-800-877-8077, they get the compassion of survivors, each who've been through the illness, bring their own personal experience to every phone call. It's all 100 volunteers. They field approximately 500 calls a year. Hotline workers are ready for answers that make the patient more knowledgeable and stronger as they deal with this medical crisis. But the programs offer so much more, including counseling and support groups for family going through with breast cancer. Thanks Adelphi for basically housing this program here on this campus and bringing awareness to all the things that this program does for people. To get a better understanding of how this program works, we have a few people to speak. But first, I'd like to call my colleague from the Senate, Senator Kaminsky, to the podium.
For such a dark and tough subject, today is a moment of light, as this hotline and this whole program at Adelphi has been a source of light, hope, and inspiration for women across Long Island and this state. This was a very difficult budget year. It was difficult in terms of the amount of discretionary money that was available for so many important programs on Long Island that run the gamut of services Long Islanders rely upon. But we as a delegation made a commitment that this service, that this hotline, that this center was too important to not grow, to not continue the good work it's doing, and to help those Long Islanders who are in need. So this year, we're proud to announce an additional $100,000 in funding for this network, for this hotline, for this center. Adelphi Breast Cancer Center is just critically important to so many people. None of us that have not gone through it could put ourselves in the shoes of those who have received a cancer diagnosis. But we could do our darndest to imagine how tough that news is and not knowing what to do next. The fact that this line is here, that survivors are here, I want to say manning it, but it's really womaning it, peopling the hotline, is just critically important and provides so many other services that allow people to combat the toughest ordeal of their lives. So we're so happy to be supportive. We want this operation to continue to grow, to continue to help more Long Islanders, and we want all those who have diagnosed with breast cancer on Long Island to know we are with you, we hear you, and together we will get through this. Thank you.
Now it's my pleasure to welcome Hillary Rutter. She's been the Executive Director of the Adelphi Breast Cancer Hotline and Support Program for 23 years. She's been honored with numerous awards for her altruistic career, including twice named a Woman of Distinction from the New York State Senate. Long Island Business News proclaimed Hillary a healthcare hero. Her resume is deep as a social worker for many years in private practice. Please welcome Hillary Rutter.
Should we wait for you?
No, we can do something after with them, that's fine.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to welcome you to Adelphi University and to the Breast Cancer Hotline and Support Program here. We can thank Senators Thomas and Kaminsky and the entire Long Island delegation for recognizing the important work that we do to ensure that no woman or man has to go through a breast cancer diagnosis alone. Through our hotline, which is available to all of New York State, our counseling program, our support groups, our educational programs, and our community outreach. We reach thousands of women and men every year. Our BEST program, which Senator Kaminsky referred to for the extra $100,000 funding, is the breast education screening and treatment program, which targets our underserved communities on Long Island. And we are available to educate women, empower them to take control of their health, make sure they have access to screening service, and if they're diagnosed, to provide social work services to help them navigate the complex medical system and get the treatment that they deserve and need. Now, none of this would be possible without the incredible staff of the hotline and our volunteers. We have over 100 volunteers. Most of them, practically all of them, are breast cancer survivors, and they're truly the heart and soul of our program. So it's my pleasure to introduce two of those outstanding volunteers, Jeff Flynn, who was our first male breast cancer survivor volunteer, and Chris Amatuli, who is a long-term hotline volunteer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hillary. So, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. And I wanted to thank the senators for their work in the getting the funding, and to thank Adelphi, Hillary, and her entire staff for the amazing work that they do. I myself am going on 7 years as a stage 4 metastatic breast cancer survivor. And when I got the news, really didn't know where to turn to, what to do. As it's been brought up, it's a devastating phone call to get. And through Adelphi, I got a gentleman that was assigned to me that helped me through the worst times of my life. So I wound up hooking up with him and 2 other survivors, male survivors. So the 4 of us actually created a brochure or a document that we could get out to doctors' offices and get out to men. I'm sorry. Anyhow, the stigmatism for men with being a female, mostly a female disease, causes men. There's a very high mortality rate. So we really wanted to get the word out to males that get yourselves checked, and that it's not just a female disease. Anyway, I decided later on that if I did survive my disease, that I would volunteer and help people. And I've been volunteering for a number of years with Adelphi now. It's very fulfilling, and again, they do tremendous work. So thank you all again, and thank you again, senators.
Hi, I would also like to thank the senators for coming today and for the funding that we really depend on. And many people feel frightened and overwhelmed when they first get a diagnosis of breast cancer. And back in 2007, I found myself being one of those people. I was lucky enough, though, to call the Adelphi Breast Cancer Hotline, where I was connected with not only someone who was a volunteer, but a survivor. And the reason that's important is because a survivor means hope when you're diagnosed with breast cancer. And they really gave me strength and reassurance to go on and to fight this problem. And my experience with the hotline led me to one of the support groups here at Adelphi. And this really was a place where you could sit in a room with other breast cancer survivors who were going through the same thing that you were going through at the time. And even though breast cancer treatments may vary, fear is universal. And in these rooms, in this building, we sat and we shared our fears and our life experiences, and it gave us great hope and support and to go on. And it's a haven and it's a safe place to talk. I've watched these groups develop over the years to meet the changing needs of our community in so many ways, and I'm so proud to be one of the people who was at these support groups. And after this experience with the support group, I knew I really wanted to give back to an organization that was there for me when I needed their help. So I had gone through the training to become a hotline volunteer, and I got a position on the hotline. And after 10 years of doing this, the thing that I still find the most rewarding is when I'm speaking to someone, and on the other end of the line, I can hear them breathe a sigh of relief. And I know even if it's just for that one day, they feel hope, and they feel like they can go on, and most importantly, they know that they're not alone. Thank you so much.
So that concludes our press conference. Anyone have any questions from the media?
What does the funding mean for fight aimed at you two
Yeah.
guys, whoever wants to go? What does the funding mean for the breast cancer community and the hotline?
The funding enables us to provide free services to all, including the hotline, the counseling, the outreach, the education, and the services for our underserved community. Without this funding, we couldn't provide these free services.